Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name's Ryan Selvey. Really excited to be joined again by my dear friend Ted. Hi, Ted Chin. How are you?
What's up, everybody? Good to be back on the Adobe Live. Is today
You may-
Tuesday?
Today
Today's
is
Tuesday.
Tuesday, June 9th, but we do have replays available. So if you guys are watching this not on Tuesday, June 9th, this is still a very valuable stream for you today. We're going to be working on some really cool stuff. For anyone who's not familiar with you or your work, do you want to give a quick introduction of yourself?
Yes, my name's Ted, aka Ted's Little Dream. I'm a surrealist and then a multidisciplinary artist based in San Francisco. I know I used to just say digital artist, then I started like getting my hands on sculptures. So now I'm just like, what is my title? But the surrealist is always what I do because my work is focused on Photoshop, photo compositing with like fantasy and surreal art. So that's always like the core of my storytelling. And if you don't know my work, easiest thing to think about is if you ever use Photoshop in 2021, the flamingo cover is that's the one I made. So
Claim to
it's about
fame.
like, yeah, this is my little flex. So it's all about like using imagination, fantasy, daydreaming, and then the storytelling. And this is why I'm here for to show you guys how I create some of this art with some of the Adobe's new features and tools.
Oh, well, that's very well said. If you guys haven't checked out his work, make sure you do. You said it's Ted Dreams on Ted's Little Dreams on
Here's a little
Instagram, right?
dream. It's getting to a big
Not
dream, I
big dreams,
guess.
little dreams.
A little bit.
And so we'll be kind of looking through your different process. So we're going to start off in some good old Photoshop here, which you said is kind of your tool of choice that you kind of begin with. And
Yeah,
holy moly, look at all these layers.
I know. Oh yeah, and look at all the layers I didn't name, right? Which is crazy. Could probably use this little new icon right here to like automatically name the layers. But basically today so this is still kind of like an unfinished art, which I'll tell you guys like what is missing a bit. So we're gonna kind of focus on how to create like a mythical storytelling composite. And if you are a fan of Lord of the Rings and then
Yes.
Naruto's or anything, like
Yes.
the giant sculptures at holding the gate, right? I forgot the actual name of it, but where like they enter, they have that, and even Game of Thrones, right? So
Yep.
like the giant sculpture protecting. Oh, interesting. Sorry, I think I pressed some button that my layer is missing.
Whoa.
Where did my
So you
layer
would go
go?
back up to your
Don't worry, it's
window
right here.
or reveal those layers
Um,
up there, or press F7 if you accidentally pressed F7.
did I press F7? Could be. Anyway, so we are back. All right, little hiccup. It's
No,
it's
no
always
hiccups at
like
all. It's
anything
all
that
part of the process,
disappear.
baby.
It's always at the window. So just like, oh, I was just like, it happens sometimes. I was like, what is missing? Let me think about it real quick. I was like, oh, my layers are missing, but it's
The
back.
main thing.
Yeah, that was like, there's a chunk of canvas missing on my thing. Okay, so when I was working on this concept, right, I was trying to figure out like what to do. Basically, we're gonna also starting from like jumping to Fireflies, like show you guys like step by step how I come up with the concept ideas.
Yes.
But in this photo, as I was saying earlier, there's like the storytelling is like something I'm focusing on. So the concept idea is that there is this town with this little birds, and there's many details in here and a little boat, right? There should be more boat. But as I imagine, there's this little town. This is like the entrance, like the seaport, right? People come and go, and then this is like the guardian of the person, well, the sculptures, right? Their religions or whatever that is like the hero of the town that is like protecting the area. So that was like where the concept come from, and then there's like a directly line coming out. So we're gonna recreate this today on the string, and which I'll go on window. Usually this I show up to a vertical window to show you guys
Ooh, got that side
on
by
the
side
left
view.
side. Yeah, so like you don't get bored or like if you just jump in like the middle of the stream, you're like, what is this guy doing, right? Just like, okay, there at this is a reference photo of what I'm working on. So before we go any further, we're gonna jump back into Firefly. I was gonna say raise your hand if you use Firefly chat, but I was like, wait, no, nobody, I can see you guys. But if you do use Firefly,
Or maybe you
put a
can, something that I don't know.
yeah, I know, right? Type in the comments, if you guys use Firefly. Oh, also, what do you guys use Firefly for? Ryan, do you use Firefly?
I do use Firefly. I use it. I mean, we use it every week on File New, where I organize all my stories and all my updates. I also use it for a lot of the beginning part of the process for mood boarding,
Yeah.
gathering content, and then I also recently used it on a meeting yesterday. Right as I was on a Zoom call, we were going over different pieces of inspiration for a
Mm.
client for a logo,
Yeah.
and then I also did things like screenshot the Zoom and then wrote everyone's roles on top of their face. And then so now it's kind of
Oh,
becoming a little
yeah.
place where I can just go in and be like, this is where this project is.
That's
Um,
pretty cool, actually. So yeah,
trying to find links right.
so what Ryan was saying that you can also just click new or this board, so you can pretty much just create a new board right here, and then creating something else. And I have some like all the other files that lays around. You can see that I do use it time to time, sometimes for like concepts, sometimes for clients, just like all kind of different stuff. So jumping into here, right, we're gonna create a new board, which you can just literally click new boards, right? But we have one created already, so we're gonna jump into here. So for my design process, right? I always like to think the first thing will be like, where is our adventure taking places, right? So we're kind of like building a world. When it comes to world building, there's obviously so many other details that you can go into the depth and the details of it. So, for
Right.
example, one concept artist that told that really blew my mind is like think about like what kind of food they're eating, and you're just like why is that, right? Obviously, I love food, but when they talk about like what food they're eating, is like kind of also dedicated like the environment, the food, how they gather their resource, how they cook it, the season, and comes to like the cultural, and then the everything that relevant to it, right? So imagine like if the person is eating an ice cream, right? You're like, well, how does ice cream made? It's made from milk, milk coming from cow, right? So that determine the animals around that food chain. And then also like, oh, it's in the ice cream. Ice cream is cold, so like it's probably a summertime. What does the summer of that environment look like, right? So obviously
Right.
your main character is not gonna be eating ice cream. Could be something else, but that's just always like sometimes I kind of like do like a little warm up. So a
Yep.
lot of time I'll go into right here. If you see little right bar right here, you have little Adobe stock, and you can just kind of like type landscape. And then this is where I can start pulling with like some of the inspiration because I can just simply click it and drag it to the my mood board, right? Just simple like that, one click, and then we can see
Also,
like yeah.
I will say, as far as food goes, and inspiration, we're not going to pull it into Firefly because we don't want to do any ripping of other people's work. But as far as watching it and getting inspiration, Miyazaki's great, and then also there is food. Delicious in Dungeon is also a
Oh
really
my
good
God,
place to
yeah, dude,
watch
you watch anime? I
food
didn't know you
in an
watch anime.
environment. Not, I mean, I watch the food ones, I guess.
Yeah, that
But
one is
those are two
really
ones that come to
good.
mind when I think of like how does food exist in a different world. There was also Scavenger's Reign, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of like an anime, but I think it was
It
American
is
animation.
anime, right? It's on Netflix, right? Because they
Yeah,
had a short film coming first, and then that got made into that whole series, which is super amazing environment design and everything there.
so just places
Um,
to check for inspiration to add to your bookmarks to check it out.
exactly.
Also, hello to Dino, to Winter, to Kaibia, and also to Cody. Cody says, as a main character, I would
Yeah,
always
always
be
eating ice cream.
eating ice cream,
That's
which
funny.
is very. I mean, even as just not even main character, just as Ryan, I'm always eating ice cream.
That's right.
Um,
But yeah, Delicious
Also,
in Dungeon.
greetings
Oh yeah,
to
sorry.
Reverb Mike as well. Sorry, one more
Yeah,
too. But
so
yeah,
good. I met because I went to the FanimeCon, and then so guys, I went to FanimeCon just to look at cosplay design and characters, so that I also get some inspirations. And then I saw one of the vendor has like one of the art from the artist. But anyway, we're gonna jump back into the Firefly before I got too far from this concept, because I just keep talking about like going. So anyway, so we coming here, we're looking for our environment. Obviously, the one that I pick is the one you guys saw earlier. I think I can just copy that real quick because I don't want to show you guys what else I did up on there, which we'll go to in a bit. When I saw this photo, right, this is where the inspiration coming. I was just like, yeah, this would be like a perfect, like a little like Dungeons Dragon ideas, like a little like I see the potential here. What I
yep.
like it is like there is layers, so I know like there's foreground, midground, background, and then there's like depth and color. So there's like a lot of stuff I can add. And so what it is that what you can do is that you can either download this to your local desktop, or you can also open this in Photoshop. It's gonna upload to the cloud and then say, hey, your cloud document is ready. And it should be opening here while the wheel is loading. Pop out right there, right? So that's like something really cool. So you can just actually work on here directly from Firefly.
I also want
But
to call
the
out something that you called out there, which I think
Yeah,
is core of your work, but also just something as an artist to check out for. You said that you were pulling a composition that had the foreground, the background, and then another layer. Um,
yeah, yeah.
do
I'm just
you
drawing
find
here.
like that is what you're mostly keeping an eye out for when you're pulling any sort of environmental like setting?
Yeah, so let's say foreground, midground, and then I should probably use different color. Here, I'm gonna change color, guys. Midground, and then background. And then there's actually further right. I guess like a lot of time I'm more looking for like an environment, but it's because also like I'm a photographer too. So a lot of time
Hmm.
like we're looking for like a certain shot, right? Like what works and what doesn't work. Like this one is really cool because like you can actually focus your point of view with all the lines in the mountain that's drawing to the center of the canvas, right? So that
Right.
open field in the foreground, like anything you put in there. Let's say if I put like a red cape person, the person that's wearing a red cape that have like a great color contrast that would just show up right there, like your eyes seeing instantly. For this one, is that okay? There's this open water right here that has like this depth too, but it might not be as strong as I want. Maybe I have to reframe it. So yeah, when it comes to composite, I'm also always kind of looking for like a way to add layers into that, right? Which sometimes I will forget to do that, and my friend will be like, "Hey, this image kind of look a little bit flat." I was like, "Okay, let me rework on it, maybe adding some textures, lighting, and other thing, right?" Because like even with this photo right here, it looks just kind of like the green hill is all blending. So if
Hmm.
you added some like dramatic lighting or like adding things from the foreground, midground, that kind of give you like
And
a
there's
way
some
for your eyes to move around.
there's it definitely can be flattened, and depth adds life to it. But in that grass one, there's definitely like a shade of green that's a little bit different in the
Oh yeah,
foreground than it is the
like
background. You could
right
always
that
bring that up
midground right
more,
there. Yeah.
um,
So
and
wait,
then
actually, let's do that
drawing
real
distance.
quick while we're at it. Right? We might as well try it. Let's see, putting the skill set to test.
And then when you're out in the field and you're taking photos, do you think about compositing at all, or do you think that there are two different fields in your life where you're like one thing is just photography and another one is like when you're sitting in front of the computer?
So actually, that's a great question because I do a lot of landscape and street photography, and something you actually don't really notice it right away till you kind of break it down is street photography. There's the great street photographer. There's actually so much layer hidden in there, and it's kind of insane because they only have a split moment to frame everything and then click that shutter
Yeah.
to make the subject and then the background, the street line up in a certain way. So in a way, like you're kind of like pre-framing in your head when you're looking around. You're like, wait, I see the frame, I see the light and lighting. I just need someone to go in there and do something, right? And then you kind of
Yeah.
wait for that to happen. So when I'm on street taking street photography, I usually just like kind of pre-frame and then think about how I want it to look like. But if I'm looking for inspirations or post composite, looking for like something to add it later on, then I start daydreaming and real quick and then trying to take multiple angle of the same area just to see that okay, I can use this, but it's better to have some backup that I can also come back into it later, right? So
Oh, yeah.
that's like something that I always like different to think about it too. But if you practice street photography, it actually will help you a lot too, just by like instantly like get that instant kicking, like oh yeah, this is how I want to frame it.
Yeah. Kind of
So
just
it's
work
pretty
on that
cool.
speed. Kind of like when you're working in a restaurant, the busiest times where you learn a lot because you just have no other choice but to kind of just like go, go, go.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
all right.
So
All
let's
right, but what are
see.
this? What are some of these things that you're doing? You're working flawlessly. As I'm distracting you with other questions. You've done some brightness adjustment layers with some masks.
Yeah, I just
And
want to see like the dramatic as you pointed out, right? There is different lighting and green shade in the background. So when you like, I'm doing the very heavy dramatic lighting. So when you added that on, right, to focusing on that, because what I see right away is that there is lighting that's focusing in this area. And then obviously the lighting's coming down, right? But if I want to focus on this area, it's just instantly I can brighten that out and then make the further one like more desaturated and then a little darker. And then later on, you can just also add some like spring light, like lights like coming down, hitting this main area, right? So, as something you pointed out, like this is just one little flat green, but there's actually different shade and tone in there in the grayscale, right? If you turn to black and white, you can actually see the different grayscales and then bring that light in. You can instantly see like, oh, there is like so much potential to play with this. So I just want to show you guys that real quick since like we just saw that on Firefly and it's like, oh yeah, like let me show you a quick demo breakdown of like how I see things.
No, that's great. And just being able to kind of see the world through your lens is very helpful. For others to be able to then bring into their own practice. I started up a new poll on YouTube. Where do you prefer to shoot photos? Just interested in if people are interested in shooting in nature, on the
I'll
street,
click all
or in a
three.
studio.
I love Studio too, which we'll talk about it while I'm working on this. Okay. So now I have I love this background that I'm creating, right? So what I did is that I bring to Photoshop, but you'll probably see like this little cloud icon right here. You're like, what is that,
Sure
right?
do.
So basically what I did is like one of the Photoshop's new feature that come out like in May is that when I create this new file, I click File, Export, and the send to Firefly boards. So basically, what it's gonna do is that it's gonna ask you to either you want to create a new board or if you want to like pop that send that directly to Firefly. And once you did that, it's gonna automatically open on Firefly, and then you can put on any board you're working on. So this is actually the file that I just sent. So if I
Yep.
hit Command S, I think saving it. Is it saving? Let me double check. Save. Uh, it should be able to update it right here. Well, maybe it's not sticking out. So maybe let me do that again. I'm gonna go to export, send to Firefly boards, dun 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 dun, and then open in boards. Now it's
That's
loading.
funny. Whatever you have over
Okay,
there,
there
it
you
looks
go.
like somebody like kicking out their leg a little bit. That was cute.
Oh yeah.
It was like a little bloop.
Yeah. Okay. So now this is sync with this file. So I think like if I save it, it's gonna pop out a window, tell me to update it.
One and two to have that
This
kind
right
of
here.
connected workflow.
Yeah, maybe it's
Being
like
able to hop
slowed
between the
down.
two. And also
Yeah.
there's capabilities. There it is. Look at that little Photoshop icon as well. And
Oh
also
yeah.
the
Okay.
capability to be able to click unlink as well. If you want to then separate and have them exist as different things. You can see you also have the module at the top. Your linked assets have changed and with an update button.
Yeah.
That way you can then always force push it if you need to.
Yeah, it just showed the little update icon. I don't know where it went, but it will come back as we work on this. Okay, so basically what I did is I put in here and I kind of crop the canvas a little bit higher because it's like, oh, like I do want to leave some space to work on.
Yep.
So what I do is actually just gonna do generate fill. We don't have to go too crazy on this. Firefly Expense should be able to work on this. I just want to add a little extra space on the top, so it's easy for me just to like crop it later. And the reason why I'm doing that is because on the left side canvas you see like how it's like squint into the ratio of almost like 16 by 9, but not really. It's like if you have it's kind of like that cinematic looking, right? Force your eyes to look like in a way of the canvas design that how things move instead of like giving you too much like stuff to look at, right? Is
Right.
like something I kind of like to like try different way to break it. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I think that breaking your own work also forces you to come up with new solutions and also provides just a way to, I don't know, always keep yourself on your toes, which is just a nice way to approach
Yeah.
new works.
And then I'm just doing a quick editing because knew, oops, I didn't mean to click that. We knew that the foreground is gonna be like as a top layer to put yeah, I'll do that in a bit. Basically, what now we have this is I need to put a main subject right here, right? As our main hero right here that have something guarding it. So this is when I jump back into Firefly to look for a font. This is like the process design. So you can see like I was looking for a statue, a stone statue, a sculpture or something. And I was just like, okay, but I can't really find what I want. It's hard to do the design. So basically I type like some fantasy cosplay or like bow and arrows. Then I found this stock image that is like from Adobe stock of this person pulling the bow. And I was like, okay, if I really like this person, like how the way it's like pulling the bow, um, I need to figure out how to turn that into a stone, right? So from here, we pretty much click generate image, and then we just click image here, and then sample this image, and then put the aspect ratio to auto, and then kind of do like turn turn this person into a stone statue, something like that. I just type
Yep.
that, and obviously I already have this like ready to use. But just I want to also show you guys that this is actually when time comes very convenient that when I can't find any assets and do certain stuff. I need to find a way to create it in a better way. Or I can just create this whole thing in 3D, which I don't really know how yet. Or
You're
I'll
like
go like,
that's for a future stream and for
yeah, future
future
stream
education.
where we're doing 3D. So while it's generating, oh, okay, 1K. Oh yeah, there you go. Now we have this right here, and you can see the way I organize this canvas is beautifully done. It's just overlapping everything. But anyway, actually, I kind of like this. It does have some weathering textures and like some of this algae or like grass that's growing on the top. So you can also go in and then edit it and change it and add more detail of like, oh, if you want to have like a bird nest or have like more details and more weathering, if this is like more damage and something's broken, right? So you can go ahead and go in like edit and change all the details. But
Yeah,
for
good
this
point.
training sake, which is making things that are faster, so just showing you like some of the trying I do, right? You see, like right here, I was trying to add some grass. I was like, does this looks good or this looks too like intense, like how things look like? I just like want to like to kind of like change it real quick, like give me some options, right?
Right.
But I can also go back in using like a crack brush textures and then just going and paint it, which would probably be more fun too.
Yep.
Depending like
Like
if you
traditional
are in like
compositing
a
kind of there.
yeah, depending if like how many time you have, how fast the client wants it, or if you this is just like a concept practice, right?
Yeah.
So from here, I just like, okay, I'm gonna bring that into Photoshop. And you're probably wondering like why I don't just right click and add it like in Photoshop instead of like bring down. I think it's set like a higher resolution or if it does the same, but I don't know. I always kind of like to keep a backup on my
It's
desktop.
always we love backups. We're always for
Yeah.
having
Although my
sure make
file
sure
is
you
not
save your
really
work as you
yeah.
work. Make sure as you have backups of your work. That way, if anything ever happens, you aren't starting from step one.
Yeah, and now we have our little sculpture hero, and we just kind of like put it in right there. And the other way, I'm just like, oh, how do I make sure this is in the same perspective? I mean, the leg obviously kind of lined out, right? But I just do it like a little quick cut out of the floor that he's standing on. Just kind of masking out. I'm pressing L and then doing this the lasso. Is this lasso? No, this is the what do you call that?
Polygon lasso, right, or whatever, right?
Yes, sir. Oh,
Something
you
like that.
know it.
Yeah, I'm a Photoshop guy. Photoshop was the first Adobe
Yeah.
program that I learned. Uh,
Well,
Photoshop
actually, that's
Elements,
really
baby.
cool.
Yeah, back in like
See, mine
2005,
might actually
2006.
be Illustrator, which is crazy because I
Illustrator.
don't even use it anymore.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like I also, yeah, I hop into Photoshop. I use Photoshop all the time, actually. Photoshop
Yeah, me
and
too.
After Effects are probably my two most used. But I remember being so scared of Illustrator for the longest time, and everyone's like, Illustrator is the easiest to learn, and I was like, I don't know
What's
what
that?
I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't know, man. Okay, so basically what I did is that I created a new layer of this. But it's still the smart object. I just duplicate the layer and then create that mask by clicking the mask tool and selections.
Okay,
Because what we want to do is creating extra layers on the top, right? Because we want to hide the statue behind the mountains. Is that what they call
so
the
it feels
mountains?
more in that vein of when we were talking about like different layers of foreground,
Yeah.
midground, background. That's gonna really help any sort of kind of overlapping that you have.
And
Um,
obviously this is just like rough com, so there is a lot of things that need to be fixed, which we'll go over into in the detail of the compositing of this.
And we're working on a
Basically,
tablet, right?
right? Yeah, I'm working on the tablet, so I got
We're at
this
tablet.
pen right here. I
And
just
just so
like
in case
drawing
everyone is
faster.
super impressed with your mouse skills, just know that he is not using a trackpad or a mouse. He is using a pen.
If
So
you
there's that.
do mouse or trackpad, you're gonna have carpal tunnel for sure,
I
I
mean, that is
think.
very true. We're all gonna have carpal tunnel at some point, but take
Not if
care
you
of your
use the
bodies,
pen.
everybody.
Not if you
Yeah,
use the pen, I think it reduces so much stress on
no,
your hand.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
check in on our poll. We're at 55% of people prefer to shoot in nature, 27% choose to shoot in street photography, and 18% like studio photography. Which I'm surprised. I thought studio was going to be higher than it is, but I guess nature is the current uh, champion as of now. We'll keep it running, but
Yeah, I
if you
think.
disagree with that, make sure you vote.
hmm for me personally, I like nature because it relaxes me.
Hmm.
But for what do you call that? Some other thing, or is it nature and street? Street is like the instant training, right? Like it's like, oh, I'm training myself like to
Yeah,
do better on like editing and certain other thing. And then for
it's like going to the
the
gym.
yeah, this is like a practice run, but like fast practice, rapid fire, but also like think deeper while I'm on the move.
Hmm.
Also get my stepping so I can lose some weight. And then for a studio is absolutely like light control because I would just
Yeah.
like I need light and everything to in the environment being able to like control by me, then I need to shoot at studio for like client works.
I am surprised
Yeah.
how much you do walk around in studio though. Like you get your steps in from street, but definitely in studio, it always surprised me. One, it's a long day on your feet, but then two, also like you do walk quite a amount.
Oh
You
yeah.
like you're in a small space,
You're
but
going
you're
left
like
and right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
interesting.
So from here, this is where my design process started to change a little bit. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, right? So now we have the Guardian, he's aiming outside, and I was from here, I was thinking like, oh, what else I could do, right? I was like, oh, that would be cool. Like this is the actual entry of the town. I mean, I need to add some boats here, right? Some boats, some people walking around, or like a little watchtower, a little something here. But then I was thinking like, I do like that he's watching out there, but then like I feel like that's a little bit more aggressive attacking. I was like, I don't know how I feel like that because it's like, we
Yeah.
don't want to be aggressive art, right? So I was like, it would be cool to have him looking down instead as like because he's a guardian, right? Instead of
Yeah.
like forward charge. And I was like, no, he's just here chilling because he's a very nice person that protecting the town that he built it as like staring down protecting, right? So from here, you
Yeah.
can see like this is where I was trying some other different sculptures and other thing. And if you don't know, you could also do Control T and then you can rotate object, which is like one of the coolest new feature that I personally secretly enjoying because you can really change the perspective a lot while it's loading. Um,
But we're
oh,
selected
could not.
in the right now. At least we were in the foreground of the masked out mountain there for I think when you went into rotate rather than. Oh
Oh,
no, you switched it over. I think I just got a little bit lag on my side. So you're
oh
good
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I have to flatten the layer real quick because I think it was under the smart object and also there's like a layer on the group. So I just flatten it real quick. Oh, could
Oh,
not because of a program error.
oh
Maybe I
no.
broke it,
Well,
wait,
I'm
let me
seeing that in the
res
chat.
yeah,
Voodoo
let me
guy
restart
is
my Photoshop
saying
real quick.
and I'll switch over to here so that
Yeah.
we can switch. But then Voodoo Guy is saying that the model that you turned into a statue is from a stock model who I use for my art all the time. Her photos are awesome. Yeah, I always think it's
Oh
fun.
yeah, I use that stock model a lot and I love her work.
I'm just
Because
wondering
she
if she
has
has an entire storage unit of just like costumes and historical clothing and medieval gear, right?
Yeah, she has some character with like cape and sword and then
Mhm.
some other cool thing.
Oh wow, no, that's very cool. But also great to see you here, Voodoo. Uh, not to be confused with Voodoo Val, Voodoo Guy. You guys should meet each
Voodoo
other.
guy, this is a voodoo guy?
We have our current poll going of where you like to shoot photos. Voodoo Guy, do you like to mostly just composite, or do you also
Okay, we're back
or
on
do you
Photoshop.
draw, or do you like to Do you like to shoot photos yourself? And if so, if you like to shoot photos yourself, let us know where you like to
Hmm.
shoot them the most. Also,
Oh, we're
Voltaire
back
is
on
joining
the.
us. Always love to see you here,
Oh
Voltaire.
yeah.
Welcome in. If you have any questions, let us know. Right now, we are compositing through a really cool statue, kind of like the Rhodes. What was it, the city of Rhodes? Is that what it was? Or
Something like
Colossus of
that.
Rhodes. And then also kind of inspired like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. We are about halfway through our stream. I do want to pull up our schedule just to show you
Oh,
guys what we've got going on. If you are not a member of the Adobe Live Discord, today is a great day to join. We can see here that we right after this we have office hours with Live Creative Flow. It's not Nick and Andrew; it's actually Nick and Caesar, who is a fantastic Atlanta-based artist, and you should check out his stuff. And so that'll be happening right after this today. But then later on the week, we have some great content with Firefly Boards. We have photo compositions, bringing them to life, mixed media illustration techniques, on the spot, Feature Friday, a bunch of different things. You
yep.
can always find this schedule on the schedule tab in the sidebar of the Adobe Live Discord server, which is linked in the chat. Thank you, Cody. And then also linked in the description.
All
So
right.
back to you,
So
Ted.
many cool things going on. Okay, we're back onto a rotate object. So after I click that Control T and then click rotate object, and you can rotate your object any
Ooh,
directions you want.
oh,
It is really cool. You can tilt it if the perspective is lower, right? You want to keep it closer or like matching it. Basically, you're seeing like a lower perspective, lower resolution, but once you hit enter, it should enhance the image and making like a higher resolution.
yep.
So while it's enhancing on my thing, Photoshop, we're gonna come back to Firefly showing you like after thinking about like how I want the model to go. So I basically come back here, use generate image, and also sample the this arrow. And I think I literally just like type a prompt like, hey, make sure the archer is like looking down, keeping all the details. Because I think you can load the prompt here. Da, da, da.
Oh yeah, it's up at the top left, load right in your
Yeah.
contextual
So you can
board.
see
Yep.
keep everything but make the archer statue aiming at the ground. So I run a few paths. This is the best I could do.
Mm-hmm.
Which like, trying to make sure the fingers are in the right positions, hands are going, the arrows on the right side. It just sound like detail. I want to make sure I got it right. And then from there, oh, this is after the rotating. I didn't really rotate too much, but you can see like the lake perspective is different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then we
Have you
are
ever shot a
gonna
bow,
yes, I actually love archery.
do
Done it
you
in a
really?
Renaissance fair and then done it in a crossbow and then like some practice. It was pretty fun. What about you?
I have long time ago. I just remember being surprised at how hard it is to pull it back.
Oh yeah. I think the
It's
one I was using wasn't that like strong. Well, also in
mhm.
Renaissance fair they give you the what do you call that? An easier one, right? Because
Yes.
there's a kid actually goes to there that they can just pull like a
Yeah,
full grown
they're
man's
not
like
looking to
strength one.
actually
Yeah.
like impale anyone really. It's just to shoot
No.
at targets.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh
yeah. So it's like something easier to do. Okay, so now we have this. I'm gonna save it real quick. Always save your file.
and Voodoo Guy is
Um,
saying, I mainly do photo composites. I can draw, been do that since I've been 5 years old, and I like to shoot in studio, nature, street, whatever catches my eye or whatever the art requires. Yeah, absolutely. You are not choosing one for life. Just trying to find one that is favorite. And then Cody's also saying that she's never done archery, but she's always thought it was cool. I'm very surprised
you
that
guys should
Cody, you
try
have
it.
not
It's
done archery.
really
That feels like
fun,
your thing.
and yeah, it's really
Um,
fun. So back into compositing here, right? I have this little boat that has the perfect water textures and that can fit on here. Basically, I could do is that I can paint this kind of like textures back, so making sure that it does looks like it's in the water,
mm-hmm.
and doing some like composite. But I'm just gonna jump in here because there's something I wanted to try. There's also like something I ran into here. So with this crazy layers on the right, I'm gonna try to turn the lights off. Yeah, like what lights? I think these are the lights. This is what I done, right? The lighting and stuff. The boat, I believe, is right here. So it's the same method of how I did. It's the same boat. I just do a whole bunch of like adjustment layer right here. I'm just gonna turn this all off. and you can see the it seems a little bit more grainy because I also have a grain textures layer on the very top that's on. But
That's one of your
anyway,
last steps, though, right? Is to
yeah,
add
that's my
kind of grain and
very
texture at
last
the very
step.
top. Got it.
So what I did is I added in the blur a little bit, do like the adjustment layer, making this do. But the one problem that why I did that is because I couldn't figure out how to get the more boats onto the water at the time because I was doing an actual live demo of this on the
Yeah.
other Adobe event actually create now. Oh, I was so nervous. It was like 30 people just eating and looking at what I'm doing on the big giant screen while I'm like
Crate nows are so
sweaty at the
fun, though.
corner.
I went to one in
It was
Manhattan.
so
It was a great
fun.
time.
Yeah, I love it. So what I noticed is that if I just jump into this is for this session's demo
Hmm.
only that I do is that I use this same photo, right? You can do generate fill on your Photoshop too. But I pretty much used this photo and then loaded the prompt of using that image and then changing the resolution to like 4K or 2K. Aspect ratio, I keep it auto, so I keep the same thing. And I type the prompt like, hey, can you add some multiple ship back onto the layer here? So it looks
Hmm.
is more complicated, right? There's more like elements on the ground. But obviously, if you are doing the actual full design, you do want to have the full control of this. So you will probably want to do it part boat by boat. Is that how you say boat by boat? Um, to give like different variation of like how you want to position everything, right? But for this demo, I just want to show you guys this is something I wanted to try on this stream is like, can I find a way to add these elements in there without, um, in the time crunch environment? And one thing I also ran into is that while I was doing generative fill on Photoshop, there is sometimes a little edge jumping, like it won't align perfectly.
Okay.
But for popping this into a Firefly, it actually gave me a better alignment onto what do you call that?
Kind of
The
going right to the
background
canvas
generator.
edge.
Yeah, the edge of it. So basically what I wanted to do is that, for example, I do like the foreground of this. So I'm reverse painting this, by the way. You're like, hey, why are you hiding the boats and other stuff, right? I just want to do this real quick and then invert that layer, right? So now I have
Another thing
that
that I
in the
noticed
foreground. Yeah,
about your boat that you already had on the water
yeah.
in both the previous piece and this piece is that you had added a cool layer of water like adjustment and waves into the bottom end of the boat. Is that just something that you use generative fill for?
These is like using the wave brush and then
Mm-hmm.
also paint it. I actually painted and I create the reflection. So
Huh.
if you actually go into this layer right here, there is a boat. I think this is the reflection. Yeah, you see there's like shadows and reflections. So
Oh
there
yeah.
are like the duplicate layers, inverted it, blurred it. So like the traditional composite style, right? So
Right.
I did have the extra layers on the back of it. Um,
Great
wait, where
job.
did my boat go? Oh yeah, I'm gonna invert that
The
layer.
boat
But you
sank.
see, yeah, now adding these textures, it just looks like more fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside of doing this is like on this left layer, I have the bold layer like on its own PNG already. So when I painted it, I can control the lighting and shadow. These are all in one layer, so I still have to go back and break it down if I want to do dramatic light effect, like pin it over, right? Or
Okay.
it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. But for this purpose right here, I actually do like it a lot, right? And then that's close that layer down, make it a little bit more dramatic right here. It's going pretty good so far, but also I'm trying to figure out like the boat. Each boat in different era and time has a different name, right? Like you had the
Yeah.
Viking, the battleship, the fleet. However, you're trying to figure out. So medieval was like the one I decided to use. Um,
Do you feel like you've learned more about history through the process of compositing just because you need to learn what to search for?
oh yeah, actually yes. Um, It's just like, what is this specific turn of this item? What is it called? Like, what is that? And you're like, oh, a fleet or a cook. There was like a different word, Q something that someone told me. This lady told me, and I was just like, oh, what? I didn't know that. That's what is it called? That's like super cool. Um, the other thing like we can add is doing some like let me put it create a new layer. I want to add some dust.
Ooh,
They're like light gray fog, right?
okay.
So I'm just gonna add a little bit around here, getting that layer separation because otherwise like it's too flat in that area with the lighting and
And
stuff.
so what do
So
we have
I'm
going
gonna
on here? It's a hue adjustment layer, and you're bringing in
Oh, I just created a
like a
new
mask
layer
for
and
it.
then directly pinned it on it. So
Oh, okay.
I'm on the like the gray color right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just pinned it a little bit.
Oh yeah, because
Not
you
too
have a
much.
lower opacity on your brush up there at the
Yeah, I
top.
have
It looks
like
like your
a
your brush is at
10%.
12%.
Yeah, 10 and 12%. Just add a little bit, right? Mist onto that. So this is looking pretty fun right here. And then we're doing
Right,
pretty good
because
on
also
time.
is there things of like being able to uh like understand light and distance through actually kind of concealing it more. So like if something does have that dust or that fade, it means that,
Yeah.
it might be farther away, which also helps add
Yeah. I
depth
think
like we were talking about.
the best way is we talk about just get outside, look at the nature. You gotta look at things to understand how things looks in realistic, right? In real life. Just go outside, wake up in the morning, early morning, the mist, the fog, right, on the open field. Just get your butt outside so you can see more and learn more. It's just easier to apply that to your art.
No, very important to, I don't know, kind of like almost like meditation, like kind of every once in a while, just your brain is doing so many things on autopilot that it understands the environment around you. And in the same way that with meditation, you go and you kind of just say, what is my body actually feeling? Looking
Yeah,
around in environments when you're doing photography or illustration is always super important to help do your work, because then you can be like, wait, why is that lighter over there? Why is there dusk here? Um, that's a great
exactly.
point.
The one thing I noticed I did was that the resolution of this second one is a little bit lower than the first one. Because
Okay.
I use like 1K instead of 4K, and my canvas is like huge.
Right.
But I still keep it. I just want to show you guys. This is like a cool way to add more details compared to the last one. There's a lot of empty area on the bottom feet area, right? As I mentioned,
Right.
right, this is not finished. But the design of the left one is also kind of the lighting's hitting that open water area to kind of show that before the encounter. It's more like
Mm-hmm.
simple. The design on the right ones is an actual busy port of like, oh, there is people living here as a
Yeah.
protection, right? I did also add a little castle on the top, which I'll also do that real quick too. If it let me, yeah, it does. Perfect. And then just drop that underneath our area and just kind of move this here. Boop. Our little watchtower, right? I can make it
Oh, look at that little guy.
taller and then just put it there. Yeah. Fun. That's just kind of like the fast way to do it. If you notice, well, you probably didn't notice because I didn't zoom all the way in on this side.
Actually, yeah. Can we
I
try something real quick? Can we try something?
Yes.
I think we're. I know that you both of your compositions are like 23 inches by 14 inches. I'm gonna switch over here real quick. Would you mind stop sharing your screen and reshare, and make sure you click the button that says share for video optimization,
Oh, so click stop share
and then share your screen
and then
again,
share
and then
screen, clicking screen one. And what am
it
I
should be like
clicking?
optimize for video.
Oh, for
It should
video
be a little
sharing?
toggle.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get a little
Uh,
bit more
got it.
like less
Oh,
lag
was the
there.
detail
So
not
let's see.
showing?
It was just some stuff was not popping up, but we'll see if this fixes it real quick. Just want to make sure.
Got it. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. You
No, you're
know,
all good. We're doing great. Still learning a lot. Still hopping into a bunch. And if you guys have any
yeah,
questions, please let us
streaming is
know.
the live actions of what's happening.
But yeah, so you put that tower up there on the right, just like you did. You made it a little bit
Yeah.
shorter, it looks like,
How's it
and
looking like now? on the screen?
Oh yeah, it's working great now. It's
Okay,
that
cool.
fixed it.
So on the left side, I planted the tower on the grass on the foreground. So this is like growing on the hill. So I
Hmm.
use a brush too on there. Um, you can see what do you call that? There's some other textures on there with the layer. So I did painted the grass layers on the top of it, right? So you can see it right here.
Yeah.
But on the
And like
right
how
one,
nicely that just really grounds it in a way
yeah,
of
so it
like it's
grounds
such
it
a
there.
simple thing. Now, is that just a green brush or are you masking in grass just with the grass brush?
Grass brush. So if you
Grass
press
brush. Okay.
F5, I have a whole bunch of brush, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
one that you can pick and just brush around there.
Yeah.
But on the right one, we did a faster way just by placing behind it, because it's in the perspective where you can also hide in hills. So it really depend like your direction how you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And you can always obviously add a little shadows into there. So we're gonna create a contrast, darken it, brightness, and then invert the mask, and then pin this shadowing thing back in like a little depth right here, right? It's before and after. Just kind of a grounded down and just like, oh yeah, this totally
Absolutely.
makes sense in your hair, right?
I'd be
Because there
scared
is
of that
some,
gigantic bow having an earthquake and like knocking me out in the in the watchtower if I was there.
and right there, you're behind it.
Yeah.
You're totally fine, right?
Bam.
Bam. I was like, oh no. There, and then we're gonna just that. It's a little bit faded, so the color is not as saturated. The
Hmm.
gray gradient, right? It's a little bit far. Somewhere like that. Okay, and then we have a good 5 minutes. No, 10 minutes, but I'm just gonna go
Yep.
faster on here. So basically
Speed
what I'm
run.
thinking like right now would be like, oh, I need to add some lighting. So like if the lighting is coming from like the left side, right? Or whatever the eye direction you want it to be.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna kind of like I should not invert this.
But that's
And
also mirroring
then,
the lighting that we're seeing on the statue as well. Like if we look at the top of her hood or her leg, there is a illumination that's coming from the
yeah.
left. So it makes sense
And I
also
just want
to
to
do
make
that.
the cloud a little bit more gloomy, a little bit more like dark
Hmm.
feeling, of that. But pretty much we can do like however lighting you want to do. Some easier way. Something you can do is also you can hand paint it, right? You can paint it like that, or you can do some people do it like a simpler way, just kind of like creating a brush
Hmm.
and then do a perspective, open one side like that,
Oh,
and
nice.
then you
Smart.
can rotate it like that, and then you erase it backward, right? So however you wanted to do it, there's like many different way to do it, and then you change this to like screen, lower the opacity, and then you play around with that directional light. However you feel like doing it. So in this case, we're just gonna go a little bit easier on this, kind of do that, and then erasing because there is different light ray that goes in there, right? Kind of like that. That's kind of nice. Sorry, I know,
Also,
I
we
know
have
I'm
Voodoo's
painting it.
attention because he says that he normally does sword and sorcery, dark fantasy artwork, and Greek mythology. It has always fascinated him. So
Ooh.
leave it up to Ted to take a beautiful beach scene and make me feel uneasy and a little scared.
Yeah. And then we're gonna throw this grain layer real quick just to see if we can unify the textures. So you can see there's different textures in resolution right now.
Hmm.
But we're just gonna add a little amount
And
of
this now exists as an adjustment layer now. This is something that's I think was added in the last year or two, being able to have a grain that you can go in and you can just actually have it as its own layer that is non-destructive and can be adjusted through the
yeah.
amount, the size, and the roughness, which is nice.
Because I used to do is create a new layer, fill it out with the 50% gray, and then add the noise
Noise.
onto that. And then you convert to that smart object and you're going back and forth. But now it's
Yep.
one click. So I do really appreciate that. Thank you, team, for develop that because that just make my life way easier. So after adding all this, I guess this is where we go in with my not so great layer naming. Actually, let's try this. If I click this, rename layers, entire document wouldn't rename it for me. Let's try it. Hopefully I don't break it. It does. So, I don't know if you can zoom in on the layers, but before and after. So it basically changed out the name and then just like kind of like AI analyze it and tell you like, hey, this is what this does, and that. And I know, okay, I know the status is right here. So if I want to add a more gray onto that little little bouncing light bouncing,
Yeah.
is that
Oh, I
what
love
we
the
got?
light bouncing off the water behind the cliff
Yeah.
is a smart choice.
And then I still want to bring that contrast. So give me a second, hitting enter. I'm gonna zoom in. It's just easier to work. The black contrast on the statue is a little bit high contrast. So I'm gonna
Okay.
see if I can lower that a little bit by selecting the color of it. I
And
should
you're just
be
using a
able
clipping
to,
mask for that.
yeah, clipping, clipping mask, and then just changing the highlights, midtone, and shadow just to
Hmm.
soften that a little bit much. Trying to make that work. And we have the light bouncing on the back. But that also means that on the front of it, the foreground, we should also still have some like mist going on a little bit, right? Because it's just
Yeah.
a lighter color. So we're adding like bunch of layers, different thing. But while we are doing that, we also want to make sure that we don't overpower the directions of all the lights that's bouncing around. Because eventually we still want to have like a pretty good like a leading eye sight of like where things are going in the canvas,
And how are
right?
you accounting for that? That's just something with practice that over time you're just kind of being able to eyeball.
Yeah, eyeballing winning it, but also like you paint it a little bit, you push the super dramatic, and then you come back to see like, okay, something doesn't look right, let's fix it, or like you slowly enjoying it, right? To changing the directions and then like just okay, like let's take a quick break. Let's see like what is working, what is not working. I know some concept artists also flip the canvas left and right, so that
Yep.
also like help them to see like um what's better in because you're like when your eyes are so used to the same design for like the whole hour, right? So how do I need a refreshing, a new take, a new look for that? Because I know
Yeah.
the there's still a lot need to be worked on, but overall, like I think it's looking pretty good.
Looking pretty good. And the
Because
one
I
that
can
you're actively
also,
working on is the idea that like a monster or something's going to come out from that water, or is that kind of the water place going to be a place where another ship is?
wait, which area? The water area?
Sorry, the one on the left, the one for your
Oh yeah,
text
so
CSV.
the one on the left, right? What I want to work on is here. I'm gonna draw a canvas real quick. Is that I think if the light is coming down here, I do still want to add a more like boats around here and some
Hmm.
foreground in person that's around. Maybe some like bonfires, right? There like morning
That would be
fishermen.
cool.
Yeah, because I want to make sure it's like a live village, right? And
Yeah,
if the light is coming down here, you see like I use some like brush textures. So this is actually just a brush with a
got it.
look like one of these
Wow, that's incredible.
circular brush, but
I'm
then
so
I just
impressed by your brush
flatten,
collection.
yeah, I just make it like super flat like this, and then now it looks like a ocean wave reflection. So it's pretty fun.
And wait, and can you show that again? How you were able to adjust the brush to have a more flat approach rather than having to go through the transform? So you open your
Yeah,
brush
I
settings,
press
and then where
F5
you
and then
from?
there's this little clicking circle right here. I flatten the
Hmm.
roughness to like super flat. Oh yeah, this is my brush collection. It's pretty crazy.
Wow,
I
that's
know. Sometimes I can't even
lots
find like
there.
what I'm looking for.
And it's crazy they don't even you just memorize what they look like rather than even having them
Oh, I have to go look for it. No,
listed out.
usually I put my face super close to the screen, like, what brush am I looking today? Yeah. So, and if the light is coming down, right, there obviously there's some highlights on the bolts right here, right?
Hmm.
And then there's some birds too. The birds is also in different shade. It was gray, but I turned into white. And then if
Yeah,
the light's coming by, it should also come back to the statue. So I want to add also some other highlights on here to make your eyes converted. But in the line of directions, I think this will kind of like forcing your eyes to look this way. So it's just like, oh, he is guarding before the boat enters into that, right?
brilliant.
So that was the idea, what I have for that one. But as we're working on this one, it's kind of like also the same. Now we have more boats here. We talk about like adding some boats here too, right? But that's like a lower resolution, so that's something that we
Hmm.
can work on later. Now the dark of the statue still looks a little bit off, so that's something I need to fix.
And that's
But
also another point to, like you said, as we were going to say, if you step away, you look away, you come back, then you might notice new things about your piece as you return to it. Like noticing that the shadows were still a little bit dark.
yeah,
We sadly
so
are at just about time, and we accomplished so much in just under an hour, which is really incredible.
oh, we're
Working,
about time.
yeah,
Oh man, having so much fun. But you guys see like the details, like so something like other thing I can add is like let's say, hey, let me put some birds in there, right? And then I'm just gonna do this real quick. You can just like
yep,
make it small, cause put it anywhere you want, or like around there to like make that contrast of like, oh, you need a smaller scales for that contrast, right? And then
yeah.
you can mask the birds here and there.
And you inverted
That's what
them
we have.
to turn them white. Was that just Control I?
Control I invert it, or I pin it over with the white brush on the left side canvas,
Hmm.
or the right one. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's quick session. Let's make a quick mysteries, dungeons, storytelling, composite, medieval. And after I save this file, hopefully back on Fireflies. Update. Yes, it come back. So this remember that canvas we post on Firefly earlier by exporting, putting on Photoshop to Firefly, it
Yep.
automatically update on our board too. So if I'm working with a client, I'll be like, hey, here is the newest composite from our editing. What do you think? Right? So that's a great way to
Yeah.
do it.
And it's all connected. And you don't even have to worry about re-uploading or anything. It's all just bringing it together. Voodoo Guy is
Yeah.
saying great stuff. I'm going to go ahead and end our poll, photography poll.
Yeah.
What do you think won?
I'm guessing nature.
Yeah, so nature won with
Because we love
50%.
outdoor.
We had 25% street and 25% studio. So thank you to everyone who voted. Thank you to everyone who tuned in and commented and hung out. Like I said, coming up right after this, we have an episode of Office Hours with a guest, Caesar, which is really cool. So make sure you guys stick around for that. Thank you to Cody for being our moderator. And thank you everyone who said hello in chat. Make sure you
Yeah.
join that Adobe Live Discord. Say hello. Voodoo Guy would love to see some of your work in that Discord if you'd like to share.
Oh yeah, I need to see
And
that.
we will all be around. Thank you to Ted's Little Dream. Make sure you check out his stuff on Instagram. And thanks for taking the time to walk us through everything today.
Yeah, of course. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday and enjoy more Adobe Live.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.